So is Stella Blade Blood Rain cooked? Well, recently there's been a pretty crazy story that's been going on in regards to someone that Shift Up seemed to have hired, and a lot of people are worried. A lot of people are worried for the game, especially considering where they have come from and yeah, like what their previous jobs were. They essentially say, after 13 years at PlayStation, DEI specialist Jerome Benzadon is joining Shift Up as head of global communications. His professional profile lists product and corporate communications as one of his areas of expertise, with a focus on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Benzadon has more than 20 years of experience in the video game communications, and having worked with PlayStation, Ubisoft, and THQ, his role will cover the company's global communications and campaigns, including its major games such as Stella Blade and Nikke. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are very worried because, as you can see here, it says that, yeah, proficient in both product and corporate communications, focus on DE and I. And many people have been bringing up old posts as well, including the fact that they were a big fan of the pretty major flop that you guys know of, Concord, right? Saying this sneak peek of Concord really got us excited, which, I mean, we all know how that went on, saying, remember, Shift Up censored the Persona collab willingly despite fans' backlash. Shift Up is moving towards DEI crap. It only takes one DEI pest to ruin the whole company, just like it takes one Anita Sarkeesian to ruin the whole gaming industry. So yeah, essentially people were saying, like, recently there was a collab that Nikke did with Persona, which is still going on now, and none of the characters really look that appealing, right? They look normal, right? But obviously we've seen, for example, the collabs that they have done with, for example, Nier Automata, right? They managed to make 2B look absolutely crazy, and you know, that's great, right? We want to see that. And but of course they didn't do it with Persona, which has people worried that potentially they are just like kind of essentially censoring their games to kind of fit with some of these kind of new things, right? Which is very, very worrying. Now, this has been a huge topic since Shift Up appointed Jerome Benzadon with over 20 years of in-game communications from PlayStation. The move drew fan concerns over potential shifts in the studio's stylized designs, especially with the self-publishing Stella Blade Blood Rain featuring the new protagonist, Evie. So yeah, Benzadon countered by sharing his fandom since Destiny Child days, while some note the role centers on media strategy, not creative changes. So yeah, obviously this post here from Chibi saying, Stella Blade might be getting censored, and Shift Up as a whole was sent this image in my DMs, and upon looking at it, Shift Up hired a DEI specialist, PlayStation executive, as head of global communications. Now, this doesn't definitively mean it's cooked, but red flags are there. So yeah, currently it is just people a little bit concerned because, of course, it doesn't seem like his main job is to, like, you know, do stuff for DEI. It seems like they're just the head of global communications, which, you know, potentially has a different kind of job. What do you call it? Like instructions, I guess. But I'm not sure. Again, I don't know how the company works, like, internally and what does what, right? Yeah, he's saying people have been actually writing to the CEO of Shift Up as well, saying, Mr. Kim Hyung Tae, I implore you to reverse this hire and terminate Jerome Benzadon from your company. If you have any self-respect as well as respect for creativity and expression, you would be wise to get rid of this man. If he remains, I fear your company will be subject to censorship, DEI, woke culture, and ultimately low sales. This man has worked for PlayStation, Ubisoft, and THQ in the past, and look at the companies now. I mean, yeah, it's kind of true, to be fair. THQ dead, THQ Nordic doesn't count, Ubisoft is in severe debt, and PlayStation is mired in anti-consumer controversies over and over. Please take what I said, if you read this, into consideration. Yeah, so yeah, bad news for Stella Blade. Announced the job yesterday. He was removed. So he removed the focus on DEI and ESG bio from LinkedIn today after it's exposed. To Jerome, screw you for hiding your true identity of DEI. So yeah, it seems like essentially after this all came out, this Jerome person ended up removing this DEI thing from their about section. Now, this could be a bad thing or a good thing, right? It could mean that, you know, potentially this was just something that they did you know, previously, and it's something that they want to leave behind whenever it comes to you know, working at Shift Up, and they don't really, you know, they're not interested in the DEI stuff anymore, which could be the case. That could be why he removed it, but it would also, as you know, this person is saying, could be the fact that they're just trying to hide it and that they, you know, are trying to avoid the backlash that they have gotten for potentially bringing this into, you know, Stellar Blade and Shift Up and all of this kind of stuff, right? So Shift Up hires DEI specialist PlayStation executive as head of global communications. I'll reserve my judgment until we see more of Stellar Blade Blood Rain, but this is certainly worrying to say the least. And yeah, so this is essentially one of these things where people are wondering, well, you know, what is going on, right? Like, is this going to affect Stellar Blade Blood Rain? Like, essentially people are waiting on the Stellar Blade Blood Rain new trailer, because obviously we had the one at the, was it the Game Awards or Summer Games Fest, whatever it's called? We had that one, right, which obviously was released, but, you know, will the next one, it all depends on that trailer, right? People are going to be outraged if, you know, the game ends up being more censored in the new trailer, or is it going to be okay and people are going to be like, oh wait, it's actually nothing, right? Just people are worried, right? And I can see it. I'm saying the Persona curse is really taking effect. And of course, yeah, this was the official tweet, by the way, from the person saying that they had joined Shift Up too. So it's people saying, oh, congratulations, saying Shift Up is done for, unless you respect what Shift Up does with Stellar Blade and Nikke, saying, I've been a Shift Up fan since Destiny Child. So yeah, apparently they've been a fan. Apparently they enjoy what they do. So yeah, so I'm not attacking you or anything, but you do understand the type of content Shift Up makes, right? They make fan service for people who love that sort of stuff. And modern Sony PlayStation was the antithesis of that. It said, yeah, I'm a Shift Up fan since Destiny Child. Don't worry. I'm saying, how can one be a big fan of Stellar Blade and think that God of War Lefe looks good? It's like that. Don't exactly give me a lot of confidence. So yeah, obviously some people were pretty worried, right? Saying, congratulations, give Shift Up your 110%. So some people are saying congratulations, but yeah, lots of people have been very, very concerned. And yeah, as I said, they did respond by saying that they have been a fan of Shift Up for a while. So they understand what they're getting into, right? They're not they're not like necessarily going to be surprised at what they're going to, you know, get into whenever they take up that job. So I wonder if, you know, it's one of those things where he's gone into it knowing what's happening, and maybe he wants to be a part of this and he actually genuinely wants to, you know, follow what Shift Up is doing. Or is he coming in here to potentially change it, right? Is he coming in here to kind of ruin essentially what has made Shift Up so different and so good from a lot of, you know, people that, you know, because Shift Up have done stuff differently to other companies. And that's why Stellar Blade was so popular. That's why Nikke is so popular, right? They don't care about this kind of censorship stuff. They don't care about, you know, like kind of adhering to a lot of people. And that's why they're publishing Stellar Blade Blood Rain under their own publishing kind of company or whatever. Because they want to go that one step further. And that's why, you know, we've seen the controversies for Eevee and things, because they want to go that one step further. So yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense to me as to why they would hire him. But as I said, I don't know. We have to reserve judgment, right? Saying just a reminder, because I almost got swept up in this, Shift Up is the company that allegedly fired 2 women because they were feminist, which is, that's kind of a common thing in Korea anyways. They broke the trend of the uglified female characters and normalized sexy again. Nothing about Jerome's job description includes being hired for the purpose of DEI, which again is true. So yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't necessarily say that he's coming in here to do that. It might be, you know, it's kind of like, it's like, say you were to, you know, put this into normal job terms. Some guy who used to work as a, I don't know, a bin man, right? He took out the trash, you know, and then he gets hired as like, I don't know, a lawyer, right? It's one of those things where it's like, yes, although, you know, he was a bin man, he's not going to bring his bin man stuff to being a lawyer, right? Because I know it's like a very like crazy one, because you need, you know, obviously all the what do you call it, what's the word for it? I forgot the qualification, sorry, to be a lawyer. But of course, I don't know. I feel like it is one of those things where he might not bring this DEI stuff to this, and he might understand that this is a separate role and a separate thing that he is doing. So let's just hope it is that way, right? So Shift Up has ended their relationship with Sony and is now self-publishing the sequel, meaning they have no power. If that's good enough for you, then consider this. Jerome's LinkedIn has currently been scrubbed of the word DEI. I really don't think Korea plays with that. So obviously some people are saying maybe, you know, he's also removing it because obviously the Koreans won't like it either. And essentially saying like, you know, Shift Up, if he does try to change things or whatever, and include a lot of this DEI stuff, maybe Shift Up would, you know, potentially think about removing him. So yeah, again, we're gonna have to see, right? There's been a lot of people angry, a lot of people unhappy, and I can totally understand it. It's just more so a waiting game to see if this does have any effect on the game or not. But yeah, I mean, that's about all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. So yeah.